High fire danger. A grass fire sparks in southern Colorado, and tonight we'll let you know about the weekend warnings you need to be aware of.
I'm tracking unseasonably warm air just in time for your weekend, but there's going to be strong wind to go along with it. Details with your First Alert 5 forecast.
And a costly mistake in Pueblo. We'll let you know how a trip to the gas station costing some drivers hundreds of dollars in repairs.
You're watching News 5 at 5, and we begin tonight with a News 5 alert.
And this just in, a U.S. District Court judge has thrown out a lawsuit filed by the family of Kelsey Schelling against the Pueblo Police Department and her former boyfriend's family. Kelsey last seen in February of 2014 in Pueblo after visiting her boyfriend Dante Lucas. The wrongful death lawsuit alleged that the Pueblo Police Department conspired with the Lucas family to destroy evidence and failed to pursue investigative leads. The district court judge upheld a lower court ruling last year that there is no evidence to support those allegations. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us here on News 5 at 5. I'm Rob Quirk.
And I'm Lisa Leiden. Our other top story tonight, a warm weather weekend, but with the potential for high fire danger. There's already a red flag warning posted for most of southern Colorado this weekend. And yes, we saw another grass fire today, this one out in Falcon. We're told it burned about 34 acres and for a time was threatening over a dozen homes. The Falcon Fire Department says it was accidentally sparked along Oregon Wagon Trail. One woman says the flames came right up next to her house.
First worry were our animals. We have several dogs. We have 2 German shepherds, and we have 3 small dogs in the house. So my first concern was to get home and make sure the animals were okay.
Now, all of Leslie's dogs are doing just fine. By the way, firefighters credit homeowners for doing fire mitigation work around their property, which they say slowed the spread of those flames. And they say this is a great reminder to be fire-wise this coming weekend. News 5's Bill Folsom's been keeping an eye on the red flag warning all day.
And Bill, what do we all need to be aware of this weekend?
Well, fire managers say we are at the peak of grass fire season. In our area, we're talking about January, February, and March. They are traditionally the highest grass fire months. The risk jumps even more with red flag conditions forecasted for this weekend. More than just a warning, we are seeing plenty of evidence. The fire this afternoon out north of Falcon. Yesterday afternoon, an accident with a blowtorch started the wildfire out near Calhoun. There was also the fire yesterday in Penrose. And last weekend, the massive fire on Fort Carson. In the last couple of weeks, we've seen snow. It is winter, which fire managers say can create a false perception about fire danger.
We'll get windy days, we'll get warmer temperatures, dry air. People think, oh, we're in wintertime, we've had snow a couple of days ago. Fire danger is very low, but the opposite is actually true.
And in winter, when it warms up, more people head outside. So whether it's a spark from a machine, a discarded cigarette, fires do get started. The fire experts say with the dead grasses we have, we may have snow for 2 or 3 days, but all it takes is 2 or 3 days for fire danger to go back up. We've had the warm days. We've got wind in the forecast, so people need to be aware. Live in Colorado Springs, Bill Folsom, News 5.
Bill, thanks. Lead forecaster Mike Daniels, he gave us the first alert on this weekend's red flag warning.
He joins us now in First Alert 5. And Mike, I know you're concerned about those winds.
No doubt about that, Lisa. Rob, we're going to see very strong wind during the afternoon hours. A nice morning tomorrow morning across most parts of the News 5 viewing area. Winds really ramp up from Pueblo County into Fremont County, also across the southern foothills and southern mountains. I think we'll escape the strongest wind across most parts of El Paso County until late tomorrow afternoon through late tomorrow night. Here's what's going on. That red flag warning active from 10 until 7 tomorrow from the Springs Pueblo south to Trinidad. It covers Fremont County as well, all the way out east into the La Junta area. This is what's going on, tracking a strong storm system. Main energy right now just crashing across the coast of California. That storm is moving very quickly. It's going to cross Colorado during the day tomorrow through tomorrow night. Bring a little bit of snow to the mountains, but strong gusty wind here to the eastern plains. If you're out and about at 8 o'clock tonight, clear skies, temperatures still on the comfortable side. Lots of sunshine tomorrow by noon, temperatures already into the 60s. Strong wind tomorrow, cooler and calmer on Sunday. I'll have details with that weekend forecast coming up. Rob?
Mike, thanks. Well, trails in our area very busy today, likely be even busier through the warm weekend. Many people don't realize it. Groups like Rocky Mountain Field Institute spend most of the year working to maintain those trails. They say this time of year, trails are more susceptible to damage because snow melt creates wet and muddy spots.
It's amazing what can happen here. Starting out as just a little bit of damage with the really erodible soils that we have in this region. It can just really compound, and all of a sudden you've got a big muddy mess on your hands.
It may require walking through some mud, but trail experts ask people out on the trails avoid walking on the side of the trails because you'll be causing more damage to the vegetation trying to return in springtime. Well, new at 5, a big mistake by a delivery driver yesterday left some customers at a Pueblo gas station with a costly repair bill. They pumped diesel fuel into the unleaded tanks. This happened at the Western Convenience Station at Prairie and Thatcher. That's where we find our Andy Cohen tonight with information those folks need to know. Andy?
Yeah, if you filled up here before, say, 9:30 or 10 o'clock yesterday morning, there's a good chance you got diesel in your tank and will need to go to the mechanic to get that system cleaned out. And we contacted the state agency that regulates gas pumps. They tell us this station quickly took action to correct the mistake. They're aware of only about 5 customers who fueled up with the wrong gas. Now, when this kind of thing happens, procedure is to empty those big underground tanks and refill them with the correct fuel. They must then flush out the lines and the pumps to clear everything out. Now, because of our call, the State Division of Oil and Public Safety also sent an inspector out to check the fuel.
We have sent an inspector out to that location to collect some gasoline samples just to verify that indeed everything has been flushed out correctly and the product that's being sold meets spec.
It can cost anywhere from $300 to $1,000 to fix your car if you get diesel in the tank. The good news, mechanics tell us it doesn't do permanent damage to the engine. Unlike if things were the other way around, there's a lot higher risk for damage if you get unleaded into a diesel vehicle. Now, both the state and even one of the customers who got that wrong fuel told us that the station here offered to help pay for those repair bills. And remember, if you ever have a question or concern about the quality or integrity of a gas pump that you're using, well, the State Division of Oil and Public Safety, they post stickers right there on the pump with their contact information. Reporting live, Andy Cohen, News 5.
Andy, thank you. The search continues tonight for answers after last night's deadly shooting in Heston, Kansas. An employee accused of killing 3 co-workers, injuring 14 others before he was killed. And the police chief who killed the gunman being hailed as a hero tonight. Governor Sam Brownback says the police chief in the small town went into this lawn equipment factory alone without waiting for backup. He's credited with potentially saving many more lives by stopping suspect Cedric Ford from doing any more harm.
The Heston police chief in particular went in immediately to address the situation rather than even waiting on backup. He went right in and did heroic duty and service.
This man was not going to stop shooting. The only reason he stopped shooting is because that officer stopped the shooter.
Many questions remain as to motive, but the sheriff says the suspect was served with an order to stay away from his girlfriend hours before the rampage. Authorities say the 3 victims identified late today include a woman and 2 men apparently shot and killed at random. Back home, funeral arrangements are pending for Park County Deputy Corporal Nate Kerrigan. He was killed in the line of duty Wednesday in Bailey. But some encouraging news on the condition of the other deputy critically injured in the shooting. Deputy Colby Martin has been upgraded to fair. St. Anthony Hospital in Lakewood shared this picture with our newsroom. Deputy Martin giving a thumbs up with his surgeon. A 3rd deputy is recovering at home. All 3 were shot while serving an eviction notice in Bailey on Wednesday. The suspect was shot and killed. With these recent tragedies, hundreds are expected to gather together in Castle Rock this weekend to show support for our local law enforcement officers. Law Enforcement Appreciation Day is this Sunday. It was created not only to help recognize the men and women who put their lives on the line every day, but to also help bridge any gaps between law enforcement and the community they serve.
It seems to be more politically correct in some areas to be anti-police than it is to be pro-police. And that's not a message that can ever be healthy for our children and for our communities. And we have to work on that.
Now, the event is Sunday at 3 in the afternoon at the Douglas County Fairgrounds in Castle Rock. It is free to the public. There will also be live music, guest speakers, and plenty of food.
New tonight, a man in custody after a standoff situation in Fountain early this morning. We first told you about this breaking story on News 5 today. The El Paso County Sheriff's Office says Damon Brimmer barricaded himself inside a home near Colonial Drive and Colonial Lane in Fountain. They say he was wanted on a warrant for kidnapping, felony menacing, and assault with a deadly weapon. He was taken into custody without incident. New tonight, organizers of the Cannabis Cup have been given until next Monday, March 1st, to get all the relevant information into Pueblo County regarding the permitting process. In a letter to High Times, the County Planning Commission said there are deficiencies in the application that need to be addressed, and a final decision will be made by March 23rd. And because the initial permit application was not submitted 75 days in advance, High Times has had to push that event back to April 22nd through the 24th, pending approval of a permit. Pueblo County Sheriff Kirk Taylor has already expressed his concern about the event, which has attracted thousands of people and generated millions of dollars in previous years when it was held in northern Colorado.
New at 5, a first ever look into how Pueblo's Economic Development Corporation plans to add more jobs. Their goal, to bring 500 new jobs to Pueblo by the end of this year. News 5's Lena Howland joins us live in our Pueblo studio. And Lena, you just spoke with the PEDCO president. What did he tell you?
Well, he tells me this is the first time they've publicly released their goals. And he says revealing this plan is adding a new layer of transparency to a process that's been known as secretive for decades. To get to that goal of 500 jobs by the end of the year, they plan to target 4 main clusters of manufacturing businesses. This includes the rail industry, aerospace, outdoor recreation, and the hemp industry. Instead of looking at just one employer with the potential of hiring 1,000 employees, they plan to go a little smaller by targeting companies with closer to 100 employees. PEDCO President Jeff Shaw says he's hoping this transparency will help embrace the community.
PEDCO throughout the years has always had criticized over secret versus confidential. So we thought it was important, and we think it's very important for the community to understand and know and partner with us on how we go about getting companies to either relocate or expand into the Pueblo community. How many companies we've looked at.
PEDCO will be continuing this transparency throughout the year by putting out quarterly updates with a scorecard on how they're doing with this goal. Coming up tonight at 6, we're taking a closer look at the targeted industries that could soon call Pueblo home. Live in Pueblo, Lena Howland, News 5.
Lena, thanks. Well, most of us can relate. Not getting enough sleep. What doctors say is to blame. That's coming up in tonight's Your Healthy Family.
And a selfie could get some CU Boulder students out of their midterm exams. We'll let you know why, but first, let's check back in with Mike.
A red flag warning, high fire danger across the area tomorrow. Cooler, possibly wetter weather next week. We'll have details after the break here on News 5 at 5.
On the election watch tonight, GOP presidential candidate Donald Trump has a new endorsement from one of his previous opponents. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie announced today he is endorsing the GOP frontrunner. He says Trump will, quote, do what needs to be done to protect the American people. Christie recently ended his own campaign for the Republican presidential nomination. This comes just days before next week's big multi-state Super Tuesday primaries.
Democratic candidates Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton preparing for this weekend's South Carolina primary. Both candidates focusing on appealing to African-American voters. Sanders in particular working extra hard to gain momentum after losing to Clinton in the Nevada caucuses. The South Carolina primary takes place tomorrow. Well, back here in Colorado, Super Tuesday, giving some chemistry students, yes, chemistry students at CU Boulder, a chance to actually miss their midterm exam.
That's right, but they need to take a selfie to prove that they are caucusing instead. Around 1,200 students are scheduled to take that exam at the same time as the Colorado caucuses Tuesday night. The chemistry department chair says canceling and rescheduling the exam would be a logistical nightmare. So any student who takes part in the caucus can talk with their professor, get an excused absence as long as they have that selfie. We will bring you full coverage on Super Tuesday right here on KOAA 5.
Mike Daniels with First Alert 5. The Friday afternoon rush is on. That's a live look. Austin Bluffs near Nevada. Clear skies all across the Pikes Peak region. Beautiful day today in Pueblo at the Riverwalk. Nice day to get out there and stretch your legs around that beautiful Riverwalk. Mild in Manitou, and it was even warm across the higher elevations. Cripple Creek, 9,400 feet in elevation. The high there, 49 degrees this afternoon, melting some of that snow. Today around here, the warmest day we've had since last Saturday. Felt really nice. Pueblo 66. In the Springs, the high was 59. Those temperatures 12 degrees warmer than what we should have this time of the year. Still very pleasant outside, plenty of sunshine, 50s and 60s. Pueblo and Lamar, the hot spots at 63. In Colorado Springs, current temperature of 56 degrees. Here's what happens around here tomorrow. We're going to have that warm, dry, westerly flow coming down the mountains. It'll be windy, warm, and dry around here. The exact conditions we don't need. High fire danger all across the areas we've shaded in red, from the Springs to Pueblo, back to Fremont County, Walsenburg, Trinidad, all the way out to Crowley County and Otero County. Avoid anything that could potentially spark a fire tomorrow, because with that wind blowing, it'll burn out of control very quickly. So our words of wisdom: no outdoor burning tomorrow. Certainly don't ever toss cigarette butts out the window, and if you see smoke tomorrow, report it as quickly as you can. That'll help those firefighters. Afternoon high temperatures tomorrow will be on the mild side. We even start pretty warm tomorrow morning. 8 a.m. temperatures already into the 40s. Lots of sunshine. We'll see a few of those high, thin cirrus clouds push off the mountains across the I-25 corridor tomorrow afternoon. But the big story is going to be that gusty wind, the strongest wind from Pueblo County, Fremont County, then down across the Wets and the Sangre de Cristos as well. Afternoon high temperatures tomorrow responding to that westerly wind and that warm air. Highs in the 60s across most parts of the Pikes Peak region. Monument tomorrow, an afternoon high of 65 degrees. From Colorado Springs back to Security, Wide Field, Fountain, Fort Carson, highs in the upper 60s to low 70s tomorrow. It'll be very warm in Pueblo, 76 the afternoon high. I think peak wind gusts tomorrow afternoon around 30 to 35 miles per hour out of the west. Really warm across the valley tomorrow. Lamar will be the hot spot in all of Colorado with a high of 80 degrees. Hope you have a great weekend in the Springs. Cooler and calmer on Sunday. 59 is still much warmer than what we should have this time of the year. I'm tracking a storm system that could possibly bring some moisture late Monday night into Tuesday. It doesn't look all that promising for the soaking moisture we're hoping for, but anything would be good at this point. Certainly a lot cooler by Tuesday. And in Pueblo, enjoy that warm weather over the next couple of days. It'll cool to 55 degrees on Tuesday, the first day of March. It'll feel like March across the area. Gusty wind on Tuesday. If you get any moisture at all, that'll come late Monday night into early Tuesday morning, and that's even a long shot. Canyon City, you're in the 60s and 70s through Monday. Tuesday, windy and colder, and then you're back to the pleasant weather next Wednesday through Friday. And in Woodland Park, warm and windy tomorrow. Noticeably cooler on Sunday, but you won't have to deal with that strong gusty wind, and a few snow showers in your forecast late Monday night into Tuesday. Rob, Lisa.
Mike, thank you. It's being called a major milestone in the medical field. Annie Sneed with a look at America's first womb transplant. That's coming up in tonight's Health Watch.
And take a look at this. Rhinoceros now calling the Denver Zoo home, when you can see Rudy the rhino in his new habitat right after the break.
Trending online right now, a runaway unicorn.
Huh?
That's right. Police in Madeira, California say this white pony was dressed as a unicorn for a birthday party and escaped.
Oh.
She took police on a magical quest across the city, darting through traffic, weaving around vehicles. Several police called in disbelief. People called saying they thought they were seeing the magical animal. Well, police managed to catch her, take her back home, and she's doing just fine.
Well, a driving nightmare for drivers in Prague, all thanks to a swan. There it is right there. The swan crossed across a busy road and decided, well, it's just tired. So it sat down in a car lane. That caused a major traffic backup during the rush hour commute because it was just tired. It was so tired, Lisa. The swan was tired. Police responded and managed to remove the swan safely. It was
Just
so
wanted to
tired.
sleep.
Yeah,
That's right.
It's Friday.
Well, the Denver Zoo is welcoming a new member to its family today.
Yes, a black rhino named Rudy. The 22-year-old male comes from the Oklahoma City Zoo.
He is currently getting settled into his new surroundings. The black rhino species is currently endangered. Median life expectancy about 18 years. The Denver Zoo says it's excited to provide a home for Rudy during his golden years.
All right, get ready. Unseasonably warm and windy this weekend. The red flag warnings will be up. Mike has one last check of those conditions coming up in First Alert 5.
Welcome back. I'm Annie Sneed. In tonight's Health Watch, America's first womb transplant. Doctors from the Cleveland Clinic performed the transplant this week, giving a 26-year-old woman hope of someday giving birth. It lasted 9 hours, and the unidentified woman is said to be in stable condition. The surgery is part of a study that aspires to give 10 women new uteruses and guide them through pregnancy to birth. The women receive the uteruses from deceased donors temporarily. Once they have given birth, the uterus will be removed. These participants are women who are unable to conceive a child because they don't have a uterus or because theirs is damaged. And in tonight's Your Healthy Family, here's something a lot of us can relate to. 1 in 3 Americans are not getting the recommended 7 hours of sleep each night. That's according to a new study by the CDC. Obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, all conditions that could be brought on by lack of sleep. And 100 million Americans are putting themselves at risk. Medical professionals are saying that technology, more caffeine, and just busier lives are some of the reasons we are not getting enough sleep. Experts say that you should make sleep a priority every night, just like you would make food and water a priority. Finally, talk to your doctor if you have trouble getting the recommended amount of sleep, even after making adjustments to your routine. For this and other health stories, you can always head to yourhealthyfamily.com. Mike?
Clear, starry skies across the News 5 viewing area tonight. Lows on the mild side, only dropping down into the 20s and 30s. Look at Canyon City, staying above freezing tonight at 35 degrees. That's a product of that warm downslope flow pushing down the mountains. In Colorado Springs, the low only dropping down to 31 degrees tonight. Air Force Academy at 28, and Falcon an overnight low temperature of 29 degrees. Tomorrow, windy and warm. The main screaming message, high fire danger all across the viewing area. We'll have that red flag warning active tomorrow from 10 a.m. until 7 p.m. Guys?
Mike, thanks. And thanks so much for watching News 5 at 5.
We'll see you right back here after NBC Nightly News, which is next. We will see you at 6.